Hello and welcome to another episode of the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, a podcast where we invite you to be part of their world. We're your hosts, Jared and James, and today we're talking about one couple's Lorcana experience at the UK Game Expo. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another week. Last week we chatted with Travis from Kingslayer Games, and today we are joined by an amazing couple, Gavin and Sara, who actually worked the Lorcana table at the UK Game Expo. Hey guys, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
All right, so as you can tell by the accents, they are not from America where we are right now, but they did work the UK Games Expo, and we've been trying to set this up for like a month, but of course, with the 8-hour time difference, it's a little difficult. But now that we have you here, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and then what you were up to at the UK Games Expo?
Sure. So I'm Gavin Jones. This is my wife, Sara Jane.
Hello.
And so we have been working for Ravensburger over here in the UK for probably about 4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5, I think. Yeah.
And so it's not a full-time job. It's just something we do for fun and a little bit of money. And we help them out on their sort of in-person events, like the UK Games Expo is the main one. There's a couple of other smaller shows that are a bit like that.
I do the toy fair in January.
Yeah,
that's a trade event though.
And sometimes, Sarah, you do the kind of in-store demos.
Yeah, I go in store for Ravensburger as well to show them different products to a wider audience.
Yeah, so we're mainly sort of on the board games kind of side of things, and so I'm a very keen board gamer. If you sort of panned around our living room here, you'd see too many sure, too many games.
That's a problem a lot of us have.
Yeah. And so because what you say how we got into this?
Yeah, so I've been a content creator and a blogger since had my first child about 13 years ago. So I'd been working in the toy industry predominantly, and I met one of the lovely PRs I'd met said to me one of the conferences, "Hey, do you know a lot about board games?" And I was like, "Well, funny you should ask that." And we fell into it then. They invited us along to, I think it was the first UK Games Expo they'd done, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was,
none of us really knew
2019, 2018, something like that. It was the first one that Ravensburger in the UK had done for a long time. They weren't really sort of into going to these sort of, conventions and conferences. And so they didn't really have a great knowledge of what it was all about or what to do. And so we were quite handy for them, I think, because we were like, right, this is how you do it. You've got to let people play the games. Here's how you sort it out. And that was actually the show that Disney Villainous was sort of first released in the UK for. And so that was, right up our street, wasn't it? Absolutely. So we're both Disney fans, and we brought a little bit of Disney magic to the proceedings.
With our Disney tent with us, a big marquee that we played Villainous in. It was a bit like a fortune teller's tent, and we had a lot of people in there with Aladdin's lamp. And it was, I think, it was really surprised Ravensburger how popular it was at the time, and we weren't shocked, were we?
No, I think we thought it would do well. It's a good game, and so so basically we've just been supporting them ever since, doing these kind of in-person events. 4 or 5 times a year or a bit more.
Yeah, really.
And so this year, we've been sort of following a little bit about Lorcana online, and so pretty excited about that, as we knew it could be a really big thing.
We'd had it at Toy Fair, and we'd had like a non-disclosure area where trades, various people from the trade would come in. So we had like Harrods visit, and Disney would come in and visit. And it was a very secluded, like room inside a room. And it was basically like you were blindfolded and put into the room because you couldn't say anything to anybody. And we were all terrified the whole time that someone would leak something. And there were all these non-disclosure forms flying around. It was brilliant. It was when I could tell from the buzz that it was going to be something like really special. Like people were desperate to get onto the stand.
I remember that toy fair back in January because we all there's a Lorcana HQ Discord server that a lot of us are a part of. And I think about half of us were watching the live stream, waiting to see if Lorcana was going to be featured, because at this point we hadn't really gotten a lot of information about Lorcana. So I mean, and then I personally, just like I did with you guys after the UK Game Expo, and this actually leads perfectly into the next question. I DM'd just about everybody who mentioned that they were had seen Lorcana at the toy fair. And there was one gentleman, CJ Agate. I don't know if you guys know him. He was an editor for Tabletop Magazine, I think.
Ah, yeah.
And the one thing he said, this is like the biggest tidbit that we got, is he said, I can in an NDA way say that Lorcana is going to be a huge hit. And then like, that's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
after the UK Game Expo, I did DM you guys. You had a chance to go hands-on with Lorcana. I was going to ask you, had you heard about Lorcana before the Game Expo? Sounds like you had, but what's kind of your background with Lorcana?
Well, it's sort of interesting. Ravensburger in the UK, they're sort of a bit more of a distributor in a way, because they tend to take the products from Germany and from the US, where they get designed and sort of brought to life. But so they're not usually making their own new products themselves. So I always keep a keen eye on the sort of Ravensburger US kind of side of things.
Oh,
I spotted Lorcana coming up, and this is pretty exciting, because I think Ravensburger have had a great run of board games. They've done really well in that space, sort of family games, these big IPs like Disney and Jaws and Jurassic Park and Marvel. They've done really well there, but this just looked to me like it was a step up, because I know how big the TCG sort of market is and how excited and interested people get in that.
And the Disney market.
The Disney market as well. And so the two coming together seemed just,
no-brainer,
really exciting. And so I was very keen to sort of be involved if I could. So we started pestering them a bit about, this is definitely coming to the UK, right? That sort of thing.
We're really excited.
Yeah.
It is coming.
And so I've kept quite a close eye on it, just in terms of, I'm in the Discord and on Twitter, and just sort of keeping an eye on the news and looking at the cards as they come out. So I'm quite interested from that point of view in keeping up to date with it. We've not really had much experience with TCGs before. I've sort of dabbled a little bit of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, but very only a tiny bit.
I had no interest until it said Mickey Mouse.
Right.
I'm in there.
Yeah, but so we were definitely interested. It seemed like it had a lot of potential, and it could be quite fun to sort of demo and show to people. So yeah, we were sort of interested on being a part of it in some way. Anyway,
any way we can get in there.
Well, that actually leads me to a question that we weren't planning to ask, but how do you feel, since, like you said, you weren't interested at all in TCGs until Disney?
Yes.
Do you think that that's going to be a very common occurrence with a lot of people?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, Disney, this is like Pokemon. I get the attractions. We've got 3 boys and they've all been like Pokemon fans, but it's never really appealed to me. And it's always seemed like the level of competitiveness has always seemed like a bit above what I would normally go for in a card game. And so I didn't really see the attraction there until it said Disney. I was like, yeah, I can do this. And then when we went to the expo, there were a lot of families coming to sit down who were scared it was going to be too kind of intricate for them to get a hold of. We had all different generations sitting down for us, and just the ease of the play, I think, will lure people in. I call it a boardless villainous. For me, it is. And a lot of the people that come to play villainous fans, like some of the family members, found it quite tricky, didn't they, getting to grasp with all the words and the leaflets and the objectives. And this seems like a much simpler way for them to have a piece and be able to join in. And as Disney, is all inclusive and family friendly, I think this is the perfect way to get them both into the card games and express their love of Disney, like me.
Yeah. Well, now you mentioned people coming up to the table. So first you had to, be ready for that. And since you've been doing this for a while, did they have to do any extra training with you before the start of the UK Games Expo? Or was it just showing you how to play the game and then saying, do your thing?
It's a bit of a funny story, really, because when we were going to the expo, we were just going to be on the board game side of things. So that's always great fun, and it's a bit of a family affair, in fact, because as the years have gone on and they've got a sort of bigger stands at these kind of events, we've invited Sara Jane's sister and her husband demos as well. One of my friends, there's this little gang of 5 of us that, you know, all know each other and have a great time there. But we sort of, when we first heard about this, it was going to be like, okay, you guys are doing the board games, and we've got another team that are specialists in TCGs that are doing Lorcana. And so my heart sank. And I thought, oh no, you know, I've been usurped, you know. So we sort of had a few plans in motion. Like, no, we're gonna still do our best to sort of be involved somehow. So I was keeping an eye on the news, and as soon as the rules came out, I learnt the game, and I was watching, you know, the first people playing it on Tabletop Simulator and proxies and all that sort of thing. So I was pretty clued up about the rules. And so actually, just as we were driving to the expo, we dropped our children off at the granny and granddad's house, and we were driving the last half an hour there. And I said to Sara, look, we've got to get in on this. And so I taught her the rules there, driving in the car to Birmingham.
Very comprehensive.
And just going through them all. Like, imagine you've got this car, you know. And so we were sort of ready to rock and roll when we got there. And once the first day of Expo, immediately there was this vast queue that stretched all the way around our stand and was sort of heading back towards the door. And so I just knew then that they were going to need to draft new people in to teach it, because I think at that point they had sort of 3 tables, and
3 set up,
maybe sort of one extra that Ryan Miller was sort of using. And I just knew that there was no way they were going to get through that amount. No. And so we sort of hung about and kept our ears to what was going on. And as soon as we heard them say, well, I think we've got to get a couple of new tables in, but who can teach it? We were like, bingo, we're in. we know all about this. We're ready to go.
No, I saw Katie from Ravensburg, and I said, we can do that.
Yeah.
We're in there.
And so we did actually then have a chat with Ryan Miller, who was there, of course, and he gave us a little sort of
like how he would do.
Yeah, sort of 3 or 4 minute sort of run through of how he teaches it, and the things to sort of really concentrate on when you're bringing new people in. And then that was it. We had sort of 3 days of, you know, 9-hour days non-stop teaching, pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That is like one of the coolest stories I ever heard. Yeah, we know how to play the game. I taught her for 10 minutes in the car on the way over here.
Yeah, that's it.
That is just something that you can point to and say, look, this is how easy the game is. I didn't even have something for her to look at.
Yeah.
And I taught the game.
That's it. It's very intuitive, and it was like Sara Jane was saying, you know, we were used to sort of the Disney Villainous game, which is, you know, a similar thing but a bit more complex to begin with. But this one was just so easy to get people going on. They got it. And if you've played any sort of card game or trading card game in particular, you get the concepts very, very quickly.
So you mentioned how you met with Ryan Miller. Was that your only interaction with him, being like, hey, we know how to teach the game, and he kind of coached you? Or did you get a chance to chat with him a little bit more? And if you can't share, that's fine. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, he was really hands-on. He was like in and out of the stand and just chatting to us. He bought us all little gifts at the end. So that was very sweet of him. He was a really nice guy. He took time to like be with the fans and have his picture with them and talk to them. He was really accessible for everyone, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he was sort of very
really open to questions, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Absolutely.
Anytime someone said something, I was like, "You see that guy over there?"
Yeah, ask that really tall, funny guy. He knows everything.
Hard to miss.
Yeah. He was very busy because he had a lot of sort of interviews and press things and throughout the time, but he's always coming back from those and jumping in and teaching, you know, just teaching people from the queue, and getting sort of stuck in. And
he was very visible the whole time, wasn't
he? And so we didn't. I'm in particular, because part of the reason I go to the UK Games Expo is for the gaming in the evening, so I didn't sort of go out to the sort of the meals afterwards. So I was like, no, I'm going to get my gaming on. So I sort of there was perhaps a bit more opportunity to chat to him there, but he was certainly flitting in and out and around and seeing how we were getting on. And yeah, it was really nice to meet him because, you know, I sort of had this impression of a card game designer. It's such a tricky thing, isn't it? I can't even imagine doing it, really. I had the impression of a mad sort of genius in a lab somewhere who would be a bit strange and standoffish and a bit peculiar, But Ryan was
really
just
personable, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so funny. He's such a sort of charming, chatty, funny sort of chap that it just made it very easy to just not feel intimidated and just ask him whatever we needed to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't have to hesitate in saying, if you've got a question, anything about it, take it to Ryan. And he was just really, pleased to be there. You get the thing that you genuinely wanted to be there, didn't you?
Yeah, and he was very good at answering awkward questions as well, wasn't he? Some people were like, "Oh, it's just magic, isn't it?" or something like that. And he always had a very witty retort, or you could tell he was so knowledgeable about this area. He knew all the games inside and out, and so it was really fun. It was a great it was a great thing that we managed to get him over and have him on the stand, wasn't it?
I remember at Gamma, he likes to diffuse questions with humor. One of the questions that somebody asked, they're like, "So with your cards that are foiled, are they gonna curl like magic cards?" And he said, "Our goal is to get foils that curl like Pringles." And that got the whole room laughing. But then he addressed the question more seriously. He's a very charismatic person, and if you ever get a chance to meet him, take that chance because he's pretty amazing. So I wanted to ask you, in all of your years of helping Ravensburger do game demos, have you ever seen so much anticipation? I know you said there were a lot of people that were eager to play Villainous, but I know in some of your posts, this was one of the ones that first tuned me on to you guys on Twitter. You said that the lines were up to 3 to 4 hours long at some points.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Have you ever been to Disney World?
Yes.
You've seen the rope drop.
Oh, yeah.
Run. Yeah, so we saw them running from the end of the exhibition hall, trying not to run, but running. And they would run to get in the queue. And it's the only time I've ever seen. It was as if we were giving it away for free, wasn't it? And I've never seen people run so much or be so excited. And then the queue just wrapped around the whole of our stand. And it just went crazy, didn't it?
Yeah, it was so busy because, I mean, Ravensburger games are pretty popular over here, and there's lots of people that are interested in playing, and we're always fully booked up, getting lots of interest. But this was just another level. And in fact, I don't think I've seen really at the expo anything quite like this, especially because there was no product for sale. That was the thing. There are some queues elsewhere when there's a new game coming out, and this is there's only 200 copies available or something like that. But this was, this is just to show the game, and everybody knew. Everybody knew it was. They weren't going to get a full game and a huge, hour-long play session. It was a quick go and a quick look and a look at the products. But still, the queue was never empty the whole weekend. No. And that was.
We had to close the queue down at the end, didn't we? They closed it down so that everyone in the queue had enough time to play before we closed the hall. It was crazy. It's phenomenal. People, they were it'd be 3 to 4 hours, and people were fine, we'll wait.
That's amazing.
Half of your day at Expo.
Yeah. Crazy. And people, it wasn't just the once either. People would go around and around there. You'd see literally they would finish their game. They'd walk around, join the end of the queue, back to play again.
Yeah, I saw some people 4 times over the weekend. So I got to know them.
Well, so now that leads into seeing these people coming through and them all being a variety of, some, like you said, were TCG players and other people were brand new and families. How hard was it? Was it difficult to teach them the game? And also how bad was your voice and your throat by the end of the day?
I became a bit of a Strepsil dealer by the end of day one.
So that's a little sort of a little lozenge kind of thing that you suck on, and it soothes the throat a bit. It's one of the, it's a brand in the UK, but you were dishing those out quite a lot, weren't you?
Yeah. I'd lost my voice by, I think it was by the end of the first day, and I was really squeaky. And the lovely thing was that people that came to play with me were bringing me drinks and lozenges, and a lovely one of the I've forgotten his name now, lovely guys from a YouTube channel bought us ice cream. And the people that we played with were just so lovely. They're like, "Can we get you anything?" And I'd only met them for 15 minutes. But yeah, it was really, my voice just went. Yours was not too bad. I get overexcited though.
Yeah, you're too excitable. Yeah, you're turning into Mickey.
Yeah, I was like really high. I was like, oh. But
Um,
I'm a teacher, so I'm used to talking all day, and yeah, my voice just gone.
No, but that was the great thing about it. That was, even though we had a very limited amount of time with each sort of group, each sort of table of four, you really felt that you could get through the basics of the game quite quickly and get playing and get stuck in. Really, I think with working on the board game side before, that they usually had a lot longer to experience the game, half an hour or an hour sort of thing. And so with this, I was a bit worried where they were sort of saying, oh, we've got to get through this. The queue is so long, we can only give people 15 minutes or something. So I was like, oh, is that going to be enough time? But I think it was because the rules are so quick and easy and familiar to anybody who's played a different card game. It was really quite an easy experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, for those people that haven't played card games, not sure it's the right word, but you just had to be like a bit handsy. Do you know what I mean? Just like move the cards for them. You're like,
yeah,
this is how it goes. And they'd be like, after like the third or fourth turn that they've had, they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that now.
It's very easy to
like
just get playing, step. And then as things as cards are coming out, you help them with their hand. You show how to exert the cards, how to challenge, and that was really Ryan's approach, wasn't it? He was saying where it's sort of get people a hand of cards as soon as you can and get them stuck in, rather than doing a big front-loaded run through of all the rules.
When we were at Gamma, it wasn't a public-facing event. It was for the business owners, but James, and there was same exact story. They had like one or two tables, and immediately we were like, they are going to need more tables, so they set some more up. And when James and I played, they trusted us to teach our opponents, and that was tough enough just for like 4 or 5 minutes. I can't imagine doing it 9 hours a day for 3 days. I wanted to ask.
I didn't get the memo on get the cards into their hand as soon as possible, and then I got chastised by Steve Warner for not getting into the game quick enough. So that is a good thing to remember: is get the cards into their hands and then start from there and teaching them the game.
I kid you not, James was at the table with this guy for like 20 minutes.
Hey, it wasn't 20 minutes.
Okay, 19.
It was. We played an entire game too.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, because you were there and you had so much experience, what was the most common thing you heard people say after playing the game? And also, after you answer that question, did anybody say anything negative about the game after they played?
I think the most common thing was, when can I buy this?
Yeah.
How much can I buy? I want it now.
Or have you got any promotion cards?
Can you give us any right now? that genuinely was the main thing that I heard. I think it was interesting, the different types of people that were in the queue and were coming to play, and it really did sort of run the gamut from super hardcore Magic players. And I know at the Expo there were a few tournaments. There was a One Piece tournament that had a lot of people playing, and there were lots of One Piece card game players in the queue. And right from there, right through to families of kids and people that had never, almost never played a game really, and had been sort of dragged to the Expo, but they're like, oh, Disney, what's this? And everybody that played was interested and had good things to say about it. Even those Magic players were like, that so many times they were like, oh, actually, yeah. This is good, isn't it? This is actually good.
Yeah.
This is another thing I need to get into. That was kind of my experience anyway.
Yeah, that's for me too. It was lovely. I like playing with a lot of different kind of gamers than you expect, wasn't it? Like we had like the tiny little kids that are used to Pokemon that would just like make your eyes pop out how quick they did everything. And we were playing to like 5 or 7 lore, weren't we, up there and there was one little boy, and his mum was like, you could win now, and he's like, no. And then he'd like saved all his lore up, and he got like about 20 and then just slammed his mum with it in one turn. She's like, oh, thanks for that. So it was really interesting. We had like grannies and grandpas coming to play with their kids and grandkids, and Yeah, it was just really nice to see so many different kinds of.
I mean, you had
gamers.
Doctor Who, didn't you? Doctor
Yeah.
Who was one of the incarnations of the Doctor, was running around and you know, entertaining people,
He
and
was great. He got me jelly babies at the end.
Yeah, he came and joined in. Yeah, so I think in terms of negativity, there wasn't really that much. I think the thing that I heard from, again, the sort of experienced card game players was, oh, can I do anything on my opponent's turn? That was the thing they asked. And I think again, that was something we'd quite often would drag Ryan over to say, have a chat with this person and tell them, you know, a bit about why you don't need to do that yet, and what's coming up, maybe a little hint about, don't worry, things are going to get interesting, you know. And so I quite like that. I really like that they've kept it simple, certainly to begin with, and as the sets go on, the chapters go on, we might see some more interesting
just like
types of cards.
Really.
Yeah,
mechanics change, didn't they, as we go through.
Yeah, I think the way that it is now is really nicely pitched between sort of strategy and
very Disney, isn't it?
Yeah,
like everyone has a seat at the table in this one.
That's it. There wasn't too much negativity really. It was just sort of, when can we get it, and why are you hurting my wallet like this?
Yeah, why is it changing every 3 months?
Yeah.
One of the things I'm curious about, and this is inspired by your response here, you're talking about all these people, grandmas and grandpas and kids coming and playing together. A huge part about what makes a TCG successful is getting people in to play, like organized play at their local game store. Do you think that a lot of these people will make their way out to a local game store and play, or do you think they'll like buy the first set, play it at their kitchen table, and bust it out once in a while when they want to play?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I'm not super familiar with the existing ones. I think from my point of view, in this country, we don't quite have the sort of same culture that they maybe do in France, where and certainly in some part, you know, Germany, where these kind of hobby games that are actually well designed but are still accessible to families are a really big thing. And there are these big sort of like in France, I know recently they have these sort of outdoor fairs, don't they? These kind of conventions that are outside, and you see lots of people playing. You know, my sort of impression is that, you know, there are quite a lot of games cafes now. It's definitely a growing area.
There aren't a great number, but there are.
There's more of them than there used to be.
They're not in your face. You have to.
So I still feel that it's a little bit for the very casual person that's not in this world of strange hobby games and card games. They'd have to sort of seek that out a bit more. So I'm not quite convinced that we're suddenly going to see an exponential growth in people down, you know, going to Geek Retreat and to board game cafes and places like that.
You're right.
And I think that
expanding here.
It's definitely growing, but I think that a lot of people, but you know, there's a big scene of Pokemon, and I know there are lots of children that collect and play, and there are some great board game cafes actually that do special events and days specifically for kids to come in, where the rule is, you know, you have to play the game. You can't just show off your cards. You know, it's about play rather than just collecting. You know, there's a collecting side. It's all fun for kids, isn't it? But it's about getting the whole family involved and actually learning to play the game. And then the kids would go home and show the parents, and you know, so yeah. I mean, I'm very hopeful that this. I think of all the games of this type that are out there, this is maybe the one that might, you know, start to breach that wall a bit more and cause some more growth. But I don't think immediately we've got the sort of real infrastructure and culture quite yet to see it really be big.
I do think it will be bigger, given that, you know, a lot of people are intimidated to get into Pokemon because it's been going for so long.
Right, yeah.
That it's difficult to even feel like you'd have a chance to compete. Whereas if you're in at a grassroots level here, we're all kind of, you know, without the skills, we're all kind of on the same level. But I would feel comfortable doing it. Whereas Pokemon, I would know where to start.
I mean, that's one of the things that's really attracted me to this particular TCG, and the Disney, plus the brilliant artwork, plus the rules being quite accessible, plus the fact that there isn't a 20-year history of the game already being out there and everybody immediately being super expert that have got cards you can't get anymore and that sort of thing. So I think that aspect is really quite big, and there'll be lots of people that will sort of think, maybe this is the one that I want to get involved with.
Absolutely. And from the children in my class, so a lot of children that certainly will collect them. But then there are also equally a lot of parents out there now that will think, oh, okay, this is something that could get them off the computer.
Yeah.
So I think they will more actively seek out, places to do this. We've got a few Yu-Gi-Oh players in my class that go and play at tournaments. So I've been like hinting away. Come on, kids. I should be on commission.
You need to get commission. Yeah.
I do. I've got access to hundreds of children. Yeah, but I think it's got a good chance. I think bring a lot of people together. I hope
that would be cool, because then the game can keep going.
Yeah.
So coming up soon, we have the actual release of the game, and the first time people are going to be able to buy it is at Gen Con here in America. And during that convention, there's going to be tournaments and also teaching how to play events. Do you have any advice for people that are going to be helping? Because they're getting a lot of new people to help with those events. So what kind of advice would you give for the teaching and or judging of events if you're new to it?
I'm going to guess our advice will be different, so I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and I think especially if you're not a talker like me, I don't. My job doesn't involve chatting away like Sara Jane's does. So losing your voice is a big deal. So my tip there is just to always have water on your person and be drinking sips of it just all the time, as much as you can. For me, that was something that really helped stave away losing my voice. I've got a bit croaky. It definitely felt the strain, but I think you just lose so much. You dehydrate so much when you're talking for so long. And yes, be careful not to shout. I mean, I'm probably doing it now a little bit, that you get excited and you tend to raise your voice and be sort of shouting at people, especially when you're a big
really
convention center, aren't you? But try and sort of regulate that and just speak more clearly, and that will hopefully stave off the loss of voice anyway. So what are your
advice
tips?
is the contrary. I'm a storyteller, and I was like, I'm representing Mickey Mouse. So this is Disney, so I like to tell a story. I mean, for the big voice and the tell a story, the big gesticulations, I'm going to make people excited about it. So I worked my whole little story about it, how we were magical Illumineers, and if you hear anybody talking about Soggy Glimmers, these are people that I have personally coached.
I think. Well, we asked Ryan about this, didn't we? But apparently in the US,
you don't know what soggy means.
Soggy isn't really.
It's like when you start a painting and it's a bit watery and you have to leave it to dry. So
it just means sort of damp.
Yeah, damp. Yeah, when you get like a glimmer out and he's just painted.
I'm not sure Ryan actually,
You didn't really grasp.
Bless
but
your.
English people get it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's an official term. That when you're playing a character, they can't.
No.
Yeah,
they can't,
the ink is drying, isn't it?
When you paint them, he said the ink is drying. So for English people, I said, right, you've just got this glimmer out. He's soggy. You can't play with a soggy glimmer. And English people get it. So
I'm going to use that.
I was like, see, if they've been coached by me, if they mentioned soggy glimmers. And I like to tell a little story. It's Disney, and I like to remember that. You need to bring the magic with it to people. That's what they're coming to the table for, I think.
Yeah.
Especially those people that don't just want the rules.
That's it. I think part of it. I think you can, work out what teaching style is for different people. So I was asking, if people had experience of card games. Some of the Magic players really just wanted, a 30-second blast of rules, and they wanted to just play straight away. And that's what they want. Yeah. That's fine, isn't it? But other people really want that story, want to know what on earth they're doing. Why are they playing this? What's happening? Why are these Disney characters all mixing together? What's going on?
And I like to give a bit of humour as well, and try and like reprimand people when they're up to things. I'm like, I'm watching you, sir. No, I know what you're up to. And then they all felt like comfortable making mistakes. Then at the table, you kind of bring the humour to it.
we had a lot of fun, didn't we, with the different terminology of card games, shall we say, where particularly if you've played other types of games, you'll be saying, well, I'm tapping this card, and I'll be Don't let Ryan hear you say that. You're in trouble now. We exert here. Thank you very much. You know.
And there's no violence. No violence. No one's.
No, there's no. They're not killing each other, are
No,
they? They are
challenging.
simply
challenge each other,
having challenges.
And I think a lot of people enjoyed it, and I think that's what brought them back round again, just because they enjoyed the family.
Yeah.
So there's nothing intimidating about sitting down. I wouldn't enjoy sitting down to, I'm not a Magic player. I wouldn't enjoy sitting down to someone saying this is the rule. I would fall asleep, as you know. So.
I mean, hearing you guys talk, I'd get back in the queue just to have you guys teach me again.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think for the judging side, that's why Ravensburger at the Expo are working with a company called Tournament Center, and so that gives me a lot of hope that they really are taking the sort of organized play and tournament side of it seriously, because they're quite a big company in Europe that sort of do, organize these sort of esports events plus the kind of in-person Pokemon and those kind of tournaments. And so the other people teaching were from there, and they were sort of pros, weren't they? Yeah. They were really good, and they seemed to be more like the sort of people who'd be into the judging side of it. I think for me that would, I couldn't really give any advice there. I find it difficult to get to sort of get the rules perfect the first time. So I wouldn't be a great judge, I don't think.
I'd be over-invested if I was a judge.
Yeah, you'd be picking your favourites.
Yeah, I was. I'm like, no. Yeah, I wouldn't be good at that.
Yeah, but I think from the teaching side of it, try and gauge your audience. Keep drinking the water.
Yeah, get a lot of lozenges.
Make sure you're not going to lose your voice on the first day, but communicate a bit of excitement and story if you can.
Yeah. No, not a bit, a lot.
Okay, a lot.
Everything you've got.
Soggy Glimmers.
Go home. It's always a soggy glimmer. And they remembered that. They were like, it's soggy. I can't play with a soggy glimmer. That's right, madam, you can't.
That actually is. Great. I really love that. That is a really fun way to say that. So with all of this, is there anything else that was like a big surprise takeaway from your experience this year at the event?
I think for me, it was mainly just the sheer amount of people and the excitement for this game, which, I mean, so far hasn't been advertised. I mean, not over here. We haven't. It's not like Pokemon where it's on TV. It's not in the sort of mainstream press at all at the moment. And yet there was a huge number of people there queuing up, ready to play, and also the people that were, well, like you guys and like me a little bit, that were into the game, and it's not even out yet. What's going on there? There was a wonderful chap that turned up, wasn't he? He was there with this big binder under his arm, and we went, what's he got there? And on the front of it said, proxies. Unofficial Lorcana proxies, and there are photos of him later on where he'd gone to the open gaming area of the expo, and he made a little sign saying, I'll teach you Lorcana, come and play here. And he had all the cards that were available at that time printed out, and he was ready to teach and play. And I just thought, I've never heard of that before. That was just incredible that somebody would spend all that time for a game that's, not even out yet.
Yeah.
And spending their time at the expo teaching and trying to sort of spread the joy of this new game. And that was really surprising to me.
That probably is actually for me, like I was saying to you earlier, it's the sheer spreading of joy, isn't it? Like we say, for that guy teaching it, and how kind people that came to play with us. They come around several times and bring us like drinks, and they'd like lean over the barrier and say, can we, later on in the day, can we get you anything? And I'm like, I've known you for 15 minutes, So how can people be just so kind? It was a really lovely experience. And we always enjoy playing the games, don't we? We always have a great time. There are several people that we know now that always come to meet us every expo to see what's new and to play the games, and I meet them at Toy Fair. But this one, it seemed to just a really lovely atmosphere, wasn't it? No one was grumbling in the queue. Everyone was just really excited to be there and be a part of it. It was a really special feeling.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of people teasing at the beginning because Ravensburger had sponsored the event. And so they had an advert in the kind of program, and also they had sponsored a street name. So the kind of aisles have got these big stickers on that sort of say, oh, this is, Asmodee Street or whatever. And so we had Lorcana Street. So there was a big long list of these sort of stickers on the ground saying,
Like street signs.
Lorcano Street. So not Lorcana, Lorcano Street. And so people were like, am I at the right place? And so I had to go and get some gaffer tape, some sort of black tape, and kind of go around sort of turning the lowercase O's back into A's. So I'm like, no, I can't have this. This can't stand. We're not sort of, all this branding has gone to waste,
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like 12 of them with a sharp.
I must say, the next day they were all nicely printed out, and they look lovely, professional again. But yeah, it was amusing people in the queue as I was sort of saying, "Excuse me, I just need to. I'm the emergency rebranding manager. I need to fix this up."
That's hilarious.
You guys, you made this sound so magical. I'm kind of sad I missed out on this. It sounds like an amazing experience.
Yeah, I love the expo anyway, just because for the UK it's the biggest of this sort of event, and I always get a feeling when it's super busy this year and everyone's bustling around, and there are just times when I just stop and I just sort of think, I'm just amongst my people here, and this doesn't happen that often on day-to-day life, that you just know everybody around you is just here for fun, for play, to play these weird games that we all love. And that's it was especially so this year with a sort of genuinely exciting and brand new kind of release, wasn't it?
It goes so quickly, isn't it? We always get the blues afterwards.
Yeah,
real downer, real disassembling.
Back to real life kind of thing.
Seeing Mickey Mouse taken down, it's a bit heartbreaking.
So I want to circle back to Ryan Miller, because how could you not? I want to ask, were there any highlights that he told you to emphasize when you were teaching the game to people? Like what exactly did he share with you, if you can remember?
Yeah, I think we sort of just watched him teach a game, didn't we? Because he was sort of doing some interviews and then teaching a few games and then going off and talking to a distributor, or that sort of thing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was very much. I think it was your approach really that he
tell a story.
He was telling a story.
Yeah.
It was
and like you said about the cards. So I would say at the beginning of mine, the best way for me to teach you is to get started. Like you say, that's exactly what he was saying. And they need to be
and depending on the feedback he was getting, he was literally sort of helping people. I sort of talking through the cards in their hand. Well, I would suggest this one first, because as you can see, they've got some lore, and it was just walking through people through it step by step as they were playing, and sort of bringing it to life, really.
A bit like Ohana, wasn't it? No one gets left behind.
Yeah, he did seem to know a bit about Disney, didn't he? That he was bringing a little nuggets of the films in. So I can't really remember any exact little phrases he used, but it was very much about get them involved early, tell the story, bring it to life, and have fun.
Great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think that's a really good thing, especially considering that, how I messed it up. I think it's a really good thing to hear for other people that are teaching, is get the cards in and then just go through, and when things come up, you go through what that piece is, and then all the pieces start to fit together.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that like all the rules. Like you read all the rules before you play a game, whereas I'd rather just play, because I will fall asleep listening to the rules. So I loved, got that attention span.
By the end, especially as my voice was going, I love teaching the Magic players, because I had the rules condensed into about a minute. I could just information dump, and their eyes would just light up, and they go right. And then watching them play, I'd never really watched sort of really good card players play. Their hands are like magicians. They've got all these little strange little motions they're making, and they're so quick. I mean, by the end, I think when we sort of the very last game of the whole expo were these a pair of Magic players who were sort of kitchen table Magic players, they were saying. And they, in the sort of 15 minutes, they competed 2 full games of Lorcana, and super speed. They just understood it amazingly well. So I really that's one aspect I really enjoyed as well, just teaching all the different types of people who wanted different things from the game, and so you could tweak your playing style in a conference.
No, I just loved the whole fact that I'm there, able to, represent Mickey Mouse. He's a bit of a hero. We were married in Disney World, you see, so he's a bit of a hero. Chose Gav over Mickey Mouse.
I've met Mickey.
Sorry. So
yeah, actually, Mickey and Donald came to our wedding.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. It was good. Good times. And so for me, it's been able to bring share that kind of magical feeling. And so if I've got the chance, I'm going to make it as magical for people as I possibly can. But then saying that there were groups of players that would come through, especially the mid-20s, Magic players that would come through. And I would say, if you come through, can you request my table? Then I can get a break. And they would come and sit there, and they'd be like, "You just sit there, I will play." So I just get to just have a drink and sit there, and they chat to me. I just nod along. So yeah, that was lovely. Having got to know people over the course of the few days, that I was able to see who was coming in the queue and be like, "Over here, come to my table." And just the variety of people that was just brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Well, this just amazing. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into some of our other segments and talk about some of the new stuff and news. And first up, we have the Lorcana Lexicon. And Jared, what is this week's word?
So the word for this week is Swiss tournament, because when you play a TCG tournament, this is usually the format that it's played in. And what it means is that players are paired against people with similar win-loss records. So initially, you're paired against whoever, but if you lose the first game, then you're paired against somebody who also lost the first game. And if you go undefeated, you're continually paired against somebody that has been undefeated. So makes it a little more fair that way. But if you hear the term Swiss tournament, that's what it means. Also, you won't be paired against a player that you played with previously in the tournament.
All right. So get ready for that if you're going to go into organized play. And next up for news, we really don't have a lot of news yet, but we may by the time this comes out, because today, when we're recording this on the 15th, there is an influencer event for 100 people going to something that they're running in Germany. And this apparently is going to have a lot of cool stuff at it, but we won't be able to see it because most of it's under NDA.
How cruel. How cruel.
Right? You fly on the wall.
But we do know that there's a lot of stuff getting released, at least from the Gamer, the week before Gen Con. So we're hoping that most things that we are hearing are locked down may not be locked down anymore that week. Maybe, hopefully, because we're going to know a bunch of stuff the next week at Gen Con. So maybe a week or
I'm going to say
learn a lot of stuff.
I'm going to say that a lot of that stuff is going to be revealed because they're going to want to hype people up for this.
Right.
And I think that's the point of Lorcana week. So fingers crossed.
And like you said earlier, how you haven't seen any advertising for the game in the UK. It's the same here. The only advertising they've done is go to shows and conventions and show the game off in person. There has been no media advertising that I know of beyond articles on, game websites and things like that. That's it. There's no billboards. There's no ads popping up online, nothing. And yet everybody is learning about this game and trying to play it. So something's working, right?
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because I tend to be in a bit of a bubble of, the board game news, the card game news, and that's obviously not the general populace that are looking at the ads on TV and on the huge billboards and so forth. And so it's a bit hard to know, how is it about 1,000 of us that knows about Lorcana and that's it at the moment. But yeah, it's certainly going to be exciting. I was quite envious of those influencers. They were sent a sort of invite that was like a big version of the Mickey Brave Little Tailor card and things like that. But unfortunately, even with some of the board games, we have sort of sent them a bit early to learn and things like that, and we have a bit of inside information, just being part-time demoers for Ravensburger. But with Lorcana, it's been so locked down, so secret. And so, for example, like I say, we were teaching the game there. We'd never held a card before that day. They didn't send us anything beforehand at all. And
They
even
hadn't
there,
done, so.
they were sort of locking them up in the cupboards, weren't they? And
Yeah.
being very careful about. We were counting the cards after, making sure. I think we lost a couple, but
yeah,
it was so secretive and locked down, and that's quite different from the normal sort of board game side of things.
Crazy. All right, so we had so many new cards revealed in the last few days. We had 8 new cards, so let's get through these. And you guys, if you want to chat about these, I think you said you're looking at them. So if you have anything you want to say about them, feel free. We'll even ask, I think we'll ask you your opinions on some of these as we go. And Jared, why don't you kick it off with the first one?
So the first one is Sebastian. And I love this card because Martin and Rafa, 2 of my good friends, were able to reveal this card. They had a video on YouTube, did a little quiz show. Made me laugh, though. I don't know if Gavin, you and Sara Jane watched this, but they were like, we're going to start with the hard questions first and then go to the easy ones. And like the first clue was something about Jamaica. I was like, that was your hardest clue?
Oh.
Anyway, yes. Sebastian is a 2-cost inkable on Amber. Court Composer is his title. 2 strength, 2 willpower. He has 1 lore, but he has the ability Singer 4, which actually is the second card we've seen with this ability at this point. But this card, he costs 2, but he can sing a song that is up to 4 cost. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful card for such a low cost.
Yeah, I love this ability, because one of the things that really made people's eyes light up was that idea of an action that was a song that somebody else could sing, another character could sing for you. That was just a lovely thematic little thing in the game. And so I think this is great. I love the fact that we've got Sebastian here, who's a great singer. I think he's one of your faves, isn't he? So yeah, Sara, one of the things I loved about Sara Jane early on when I met her was that when the Under the Sea song came on, on the CD player, we were driving along, she knew every single word of that song.
I love it.
So the next card we have is Gaston. It is also a 2-cost inkable. It has 4 strength and 2 willpower, and he has Reckless just on him. He doesn't give it to anyone. He has it on himself, which is this character can't quest and must challenge each turn if able, and he has 0 lore. The first no lore character, because he can never quest. So why would he need lore on him, right? So this is pretty fun, and it is so on point thematically with this character. It's incredible.
I have to eat crow a little bit on this one because I was pretty adamant that there would be no 0 lore characters, but this one is fitting. If you're going to have a 0 lore character, this one makes sense.
Totally makes sense. He's all about Gaston. He doesn't care about you and earning lore. So, and he's in Ruby, so that fits with that color as well.
I think ever since they showed LeFou as one of the other cards, I was just waiting for Gaston to appear, because I think he references Gaston, doesn't he? And yeah, I think this is the perfect introduction for him.
We're a bit Gaston obsessed at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Our son's in Beauty and the Beast at school next week, and so we've been hearing Gaston songs for the last 3 weeks. He's going to love this card.
Great music. So the next card is Ariel. She is a 3-cost inkable. She has 2 strength, 3 willpower. She is also a singer card. She can sing songs up to 5. So we're looking at songs like Let It Go and Dragonfire. She has 1 lore, and she has the ability Musical Debut, which basically lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. And if there's a song card, you can reveal it and put the bottom 3 on the bottom. You can put the other 3 on the bottom of your deck. Wow, that was a word jumble. So, and this was the first card that had the singer ability revealed on it.
Yes, it's fun.
Great
keywords this late into the reveals, right?
Right.
Yeah, I love the fact that their sort of abilities have got a name associated with them. I think that's a really nice touch, and I'm sort of interested to see where they go with that, if they ever are referred to on other cards maybe or anything like that. But yeah, I love the fact that this is in contrast to the other version of Ariel that can't sing, isn't it? I can't quite remember the card name now, but yes, this is a great one.
On human legs.
That's right. Yeah.
When she's
she
human,
has no voice.
Yes.
Jinx.
So next up is one that I was waiting for, and this is Anna from Frozen, Heir to Arendelle. It's in Amethyst. It's a 4 cost inkable with 2 strength and 4 willpower and 2 lore, and the ability Loving Heart. When you play this character, if you have a character named Elsa in play, choose an opposing character. The chosen character doesn't ready at the end of their next turn. And this is so thematic because if you have an Elsa in play and it's the one that we currently know, that Elsa can exert a chosen opposing character, and then Anna can make them stay exerted for you so that your opponent can't use them the next turn, which is so much fun that they're building these combos now, that they're revealing these combos.
Yeah, I love the fact that the cards work together like this. It's just awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Like fits with the story. I love that.
And I am one step closer to playing the Frozen movie as a deck.
I definitely love the art on this card. It's such good art. I don't know, like the ability, I can take it early. Like it seems to me like with Anna, if you have her in your deck and you can use the ability, then it's awesome. But I don't know if this is a combo you build your deck around.
No, but it's fun if you can. It's just having that bonus because she's also 2 lore at a 4 cost.
Yeah,
and so her lore earning ability is probably her main thing. But having this, if you do have because we're also going to be having at least 2 more Elsas,
right?
So there'll be a lot of chances to actually use this ability if you're building a deck around Elsa and Anna, which I don't know if you would, but if you have a lot of them in there, it's great.
Sounds like you might.
I like to think
of this has been that moment in the film where they sort of meet in opposition, and Elsa sort of can't control her power, and she sort of sends an icy blast that zaps off and accidentally freezes someone. I think that's the moment for me that this card represents.
Oh,
yes,
it's good art.
Yes.
Okay, so our next card is one that was revealed by Team Lorcana in the HQ Discord. It's a 2-cost inkable card action that's on steel. It's called Break, and the action is banish chosen item. And there's a shadow of the beast on the card, and then you see a chair that has tragically been shredded and it has an arm broken off, and poor Lorcana wardrobe lost a friend.
Now. Some chairs are just chairs in Beauty and the Beast. They're not all people that have been changed into things.
Still, that's risky business to be breaking chairs in that castle.
Yeah.
I mean, a Western
how did Chip get chipped? That's what I want to know.
Right? I believe that it was just that he had a missing tooth. Some of his teeth were falling out because he's young. That's all it was. Nothing nefarious. Next up, we have in Sapphire a 3-cost uninkable action called If It's Not Baroque, and it features Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast. And this is return an item card from your discard to your hand. And the flavor text is don't fix it. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
The pun game is great so far in the game. I really love the names of the cards and the little bits of flavor text. It really adds to it.
You knew something good was coming from the very beginning with the Brave Little Tailor card, when the entire sentence fit in 5 puns into one sentence. which I guess the guy who wrote that actually, like right after D23, he somewhere said that he spent almost an entire day writing just that one sentence. Which is crazy. It's so cool.
Dedication, yeah.
So the next card, I think, is the most interesting action card that was revealed. It's a 1-cost inkable on Ruby. It's called Fan the Flames, and it features LeFew riling up the crowds. And it says, ready chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. And the implications for this, like if you have Aladdin or if you have Mulan, You can use this card and ready your character up so you can use their effect another time. So I think this is a pretty strong card.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, you can quest with one of them and then ready them up and attack, then get that bonus for attacking, or you can attack twice, like for Mulan, where you can get that bonus where she banishes someone. If she can banish 2 different characters in one turn, you get the bonus for the lore for each turn, or for each, for each attack. So yeah, this is pretty cool.
Seems like pretty good value for one, doesn't it?
Yeah. And again, just revealing all those combos that you're going to be able to be playing. And then finally, we have in Amber a 3-cost uninkable item, Ursula's Shell Necklace, with the ability Now Sing. And the ability is whenever you play a song, you may pay 1 ink to draw a card. And drawing a card is so important in this game, and to have an item out that every time you play a song, you get to draw a card. And if you have 2 of these out, every time you can pay that ink to draw that 1 card. So if you have 4 of them out, you pay 4 ink, you draw 4 cards if you want to. I mean, I don't know how much ink you're going to have, so that may not be very likely.
But
just the fact that you could makes this, just the draw makes this a very good card, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the things about the demo decks that they had at the Games Expo was that the real experienced players that were getting through a game very quickly. There's a few instances where they got to that position of just top decking. They're just taking the card from the top of the deck and having to play that because they'd run out of cards, and they didn't. Obviously, the decks weren't perfectly created then to sort of give you enough options that you need. So this is one of those that seem to be very useful.
Imagine singing Friends on the Other Side and then exerting this one to draw a 3rd card. It's a pretty good card.
And also singing it for free, so you don't spend any ink to get those 2 cards. And you spend ink to get 3 cards.
Yeah, you could use Sebastian on turn 3 to sing it. And then, although I guess this doesn't come out till turn 3. So you could play this one, then sing with Sebastian. Yeah, okay, so it could work.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. If you're playing an Amber Sapphire deck and you've ramped up, you already got multiple lore, ramped up ahead of the turn. So turn 3 and 4 could be some pretty good turns for card draw and set you up for some good plays. Just a bunch of really cool cards. And now that we have more than half the deck, I mean, a lot of people are now looking at this and going like, look at all the combos that are starting to come in. Look at all the flavor to the game that's being added, that we, just keep adding to it. And even things like just noticing once again on the art, like on the Ursula's shell, the magic of the voice coming out of the shell. The magic swirls are basically the swirls in the same style as the amber ink design. So again, the designs of the game are always making their way into the art in like every instance possible. It's just everything is meshing and planned out so well.
Yes, that's the great thing about all the art being unique and new art sort of thing, rather than just reusing stuff. Is that it's got all these lovely little touches. I mean, I love looking for the hidden Mickeys. Yes. I like showing at the expo the one on the back of the cards.
Had so many kids saying no, it's not there.
Yeah, the lot of kids weren't having it. They're like, no, that doesn't work. And I was like, yes, a hidden Mickey. Come on, look, you can see it. That no. But yeah, the little what's the most recent one? Jetsam, hasn't it? Jetsam, I can see now, has got the bubbles.
Yeah,
classic hidden Mickey there.
Bastion has like 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Sebastian definitely has some hidden Mickeys on him in the bubbles there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. We don't like those hidden Mickey deniers though. Now the time has come. Are you guys up for some Disney Jeopardy?
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
Shame and embarrassment of our family.
All right, Jared, let her rip.
All right. So you guys know how the game works, right?
Yeah, you have to. We don't really get Jeopardy over here, but you'll have to forgive us if we don't quite phrase the answer correctly. But we'll give it a go.
Idea.
Yeah,
we're pretty forgiving.
We're not that strict. Yeah, we're not that strict about it.
All right. So we're gonna go. I don't know. Some of these questions might not be an appropriate level, but we'll see how you do. So for 100, this is the name of the toy store in Toy Story 2.
First question. I know we've pitched ourselves to haven't we? Toy Story 2 is one that I haven't watched very much because it's not my favorite, really.
No, mine not.
No, I'm going to think about that one.
No.
Jimmy's Toy Shack.
So close. What is Al's Toy Barn?
Oh my God. Oh, I told you, shame and embarrassment.
Yeah.
And for disclosure, when I messaged Gavin, he said to bring some hard questions. So
I'm ashamed now. Sorry.
Okay, for
we
200,
always get people. Apparently, that's apparently our thing is just making people guess, not be able to guess any of our questions, or at least only one or two. So we're mean, apparently.
No, I can guess other people's questions just fine, but
it's the pressure. The pressure's
yeah,
It's true. It's true. Okay, so for 200, this is the Disney princess who made a background appearance at Elsa's coronation.
yeah. They were sort of coming in as guests, weren't they? Is it Rapunzel?
Correct.
Who is Rapunzel?
Ding ding
That
ding
is
ding.
correct.
Awesome.
Okay,
We got one.
You're on the board.
I'm happy now.
for 300, this is how many years Genie was left in the lamp before Aladdin set him free.
That is hard.
He
I
says,
think, was it in the song? He says something. Yeah, he says it, doesn't he?
says
It's
blank blank.
The crick in a neck joke.
Yeah. 200. God, I think it's more than that, but yeah, go on then. What is 200 years?
Sara, do you have a guess?
Right. Higher.
Okay. I go for 800.
All right, you add those two together and multiply it by 10 for 10,000 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
we suck.
That makes sense.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Something
So
like that.
easy.
All right, okay. For 400, this is how many sisters Ariel has.
hang on. Let's hear the song.
She's gonna get it.
So she's got, hang on. I'm gonna guess she's got. Oh, what did you say? What are four sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for that.
Just said the number 4.
Four. And Ariel. Hang on.
Gavin, do you
Hang
have a
on.
guess?
5.
She has what are 6 sisters?
Song.
So close.
So
Yeah,
close.
that was so close.
That's pathetic.
You're on the right track of the song, yeah. Just,
You really were. I thought you were gonna get it. All right, for 500, these are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters.
Drusilla? Who is Drusilla?
That's one of
And
them.
who is
Yes.
Anastasia.
500.
Yes.
You got it.
nice. Yeah.
You got the important one.
The
That's-
characters we can do.
It's in Marvel Villainous, isn't it? Those ones are in there.
Yeah, also they gave the boys kisses in Crystal Palace and tried to marry them, remember?
Oh, yeah.
1900 Park Fair. Yeah, they tried to
Yeah,
marry
we
them,
went to Walt
tiny.
Disney World when our kids were quite young. The eldest 2 were sort of 1.5 and 3.
3, yeah.
And the sisters.
They gave them, our boys gave them little party rings, didn't they? And
Oh.
Yeah, they tried to marry them, and
the mom said that was fine. They were sworn off, weren't they?
That's so cute. All right. Well, you guys did pretty good there.
Well, you've got the most points. The question of the most
Yes.
points. So yeah, we are. We're the winners. We're the winners.
Love
Yes.
it. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Gavin and Sara Jane, if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
So I'm on Twitter at JonesFamGames.
I'm all over the place. I'm on Instagram at Keep Up with the Jones Family. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Is that what it's on Instagram?
Sure.
Keep Up with the Jones Family. And then our blog is the same name.
Okay, fantastic. You guys were so awesome. I really appreciated your insight and the stories that you had to tell. I will probably start calling Glimmers Soggy Glimmers when I play them.
Good.
And then probably terribly fell at trying to explain to people why I'm calling them Soggy Glimmers, but I'll point them to this podcast.
Stay strong.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you
for having us.
Thanks for having us, and yeah, keep up the good work. I love the podcast.
Yeah, brilliant.
And the memes and things as well. Brilliant.
Perfect. So if you liked what you heard, you can follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe on the podcast of your choice. You can follow me on Twitter at Citizens of Lorcana. And James, where can they find you?
They can find me everywhere online at Dan Regal. And when this drops, well, I'll probably be at Comic-Con. So follow me over there for the SDCon cast and the SDCC blog. And I think that's about it. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.